The rain drizzled softly against the window pane like whispers of the world outside, a world Maria felt she had been swept away from. Each droplet traced a path down the glass, as if carrying away pieces of time itself. She stood silently in the dim corridor, a paper cup of long cold coffee trembling in her hands, the bitter liquid forgotten hours ago. The hospital had become her universe, its sterile walls closing in around her like a cocoon she couldn't escape. Inside the hospital room, her father lay sleeping, his frail body connected to a symphony of machines that beeped steadily, the rhythm a haunting reminder of time slipping away. His chest rose and fell with mechanical assistance, each breath a small victory against the inevitable. The man who had once carried her on his shoulders, who had taught her to ride a bicycle and to face her fears, now seemed so small beneath the white sheets. His silver hair, once thick and proud, lay thin against the pillow, and his hands, those hands that had built her childhood treehouse and applauded at every school performance, rested pale and motionless at his sides. Days had turned into nights, and she had become a ghost in this sterile place, only stepping out to breathe in the cold, lifeless air of vending machine dinners and fluorescent lights. The hospital's rhythm had become her own. Morning rounds at 7, medication at noon, visiting hours that stretched beyond their limits, because no nurse had the heart to send her away. She knew every crack in the corridor tiles, every flicker of the overhead lights, every face of the night shift staff who had learned to bring her fresh coffee without being asked. Outside, the city pulsed with life, but in here, moments stretched impossibly long. Through the rain-streaked windows, she could see taxis weaving through traffic, couples sharing umbrellas, street vendors closing their stalls for the night. Life continued its relentless march forward while she remained suspended in this liminal space between hope and despair. The world outside seemed almost fictional, a movie playing on a screen she could observe but never touch. Maria's gaze drifted to the streets below, where strangers hurried past, their lives simple and unfettered. She felt like a spectator watching life unfold behind a glass barrier. A young woman laughed into her phone, carefree and radiant. A businessman checked his watch, annoyed by some trivial delay. A child skipped ahead of his mother, splashing in puddles with innocent joy. Had she ever been that carefree? It seemed like a lifetime ago. Her phone buzzed insistently, shattering the moment. A message from her boss appeared on the screen, thinly veiled frustration echoing from every word. "When are you coming back to work? The Peterson account is falling apart. We need you here." She stared at the message, her thumbs hovering over the keyboard. She typed, "Soon, I promise," and deleted it. Then tried again. "I need more time." Deleted. "My father is dying." Deleted. Nothing felt adequate. Nothing could bridge the chasm between her reality and theirs. Finally, she simply turned off the screen and slipped the phone back into her pocket. Her father stirred slightly, his breathing shallow yet steady. She moved to his bedside, settling into the chair that had molded to her body over these endless weeks. In the silence, she whispered, "You always called me your sunshine, Dad. I'll be your light. Just hold on." Her voice cracked, and she gripped his hand tighter, as if her touch alone could anchor him to this world. She remembered how he used to wake her up on Saturday mornings, throwing open her curtains and declaring, "Rise and shine, my little sunshine." Even on the darkest days, he had found light. A nurse entered, her demeanor gentle, adjusting the IV drip with practiced hands. Maria had learned her name was Ruth, and she had worked in this ward for 15 years. Ruth had seen countless families in Maria's position, yet her compassion never seemed depleted. "He's strong," she said softly, checking the monitors with efficient care. "I've seen patients in worse condition pull through. Don't lose hope. He's fighting." She placed a hand on Mariah's shoulder, a simple gesture that carried the weight of genuine understanding. Maria forced a smile, tiny tears pooling in her eyes. Each word was a lifeline, tethering her to the flicker of hope that refused to die completely. "Thank you," she whispered, her gratitude extending beyond those simple words. Ruth nodded knowingly and quietly left the room, dimming the overhead light as she went, leaving only the soft glow of the bedside lamp. That night, the rain paused, leaving a hush that felt sacred. The sudden silence was almost startling after hours of the steady drumming against the windows. The world seemed to hold its breath. As she closed her eyes in the waiting room, Maria prayed, not for miracles, but for the strength to bear whatever came next. She had never been particularly religious, but in this space between living and dying, she found herself reaching out to something greater, some force that might cushion the fall she felt coming. When morning broke, the sun flooded the room, illuminating her father's face as if blessing him with warmth. The golden light seemed almost supernatural after so many gray days. He opened his eyes, and for a moment, the familiar spark flickered within, that mischievous twinkle she remembered from childhood when he would pretend to steal her nose or hide surprise gifts around the house. "You look tired," he said, his voice barely a whisper, each word requiring enormous effort. Maria chuckled through her tears, the sound somewhere between laughter and sobbing. "I'm okay, Dad. Don't worry." But even as she spoke, she knew he could see through her, just as he always had. He had taught her to be strong, to face difficulties head-on, but now she wondered if he had ever imagined she would need that strength for this. He reached for her hand, its grip weak but resolute. His fingers, once strong enough to open any jar or fix any broken toy, now trembled with the effort. "Promise me you'll take care of yourself," he urged softly, his eyes searching hers with an intensity that transcended his physical frailty. "Promise me you won't stop living because of this. You have so much life ahead of you, my sunshine." Her heart twisted in response, but she nodded, knowing the weight of that promise. "I promise, Dad. I promise." The words felt both like a vow and a surrender. She wanted to tell him that she didn't know how to live in a world without him, that he had been her compass, her cheerleader, her safe harbor. But she held those words back, not wanting to burden him with her fears. Days stretched into weeks, filled with Jonathan's favorite stories. She read them until he would drift off, a smile touching his lips. She read him passages from The Old Man and the Sea, his favorite Hemingway novel. She read him articles about the Yankees, his beloved baseball team. She read him letters from old friends and relatives, creating a tapestry of love around his hospital bed. Each evening, she would speak the words he cherished, her voice a soothing balm against the harsh reality of beeping machines and antiseptic smells. They spoke about her childhood, about the time he taught her to swim, about her mother who had passed years before. They laughed about her disastrous first attempt at cooking dinner for the family, the smoke alarm, the ruined chicken, his gracious declaration that it was an interesting interpretation of the recipe. They cried together, not always about the present, but about beautiful memories too precious to hold without tears. But one morning, silence fell abruptly. The bed beside her was empty. Maria had stepped out for just 20 minutes, her first real shower in days, a nurse had insisted. When she returned, her father was gone. Nurses stood in quiet respect, their heads bowed, Ruth among them with tears in her eyes. A hollow ache enveloped Maria as sunlight washed over the vacant pillow, her world collapsing silently around her. The machines had been turned off, their absence somehow louder than their beeping had ever been. Yet, through the shards of grief, his last words echoed within her. "Keep shining, my sunshine." She repeated them, wrapping them around her heart until they no longer brought pain, but a quiet resolve. In the days that followed, during the funeral arrangements, the condolence calls, the unbearable task of sorting through his belongings, those words became her mantra. A month later, she returned to work, her colleagues smiling, their eyes reflecting the unspoken support. But within her, everything had shifted. She now wore her smile with tenderness, listening intently to the stories of others, the whispers of pain mingling with hope. She noticed the receptionist whose mother was sick, the intern grieving a breakup, the manager hiding stress behind bravado. Grief had made her more human, more present, more alive to the suffering and joy surrounding her. Every evening, as stars began to pierce the velvet sky, she walked home reflecting on everything she learned through her loss. Embracing the memories and the love they shared, she whispered into the night, "I'm still shining, Dad." And somehow, against the backdrop of life's chaos, she truly was. The light he had always seen in her hadn't been extinguished by his death. Instead, it had been transformed, deepened, made more resilient by the darkness she had endured. She carried him with her now, not as a weight, but as a warmth, a glow that would never fade. She learned to find joy in small moments. The first sip of morning coffee, a stranger's smile, the way sunlight danced on water. These simple pleasures, once overlooked, now felt like precious gifts. Her colleagues began coming to her with their troubles, sensing her newfound ability to truly listen, to hold space for pain without trying to fix it. She had become a quiet beacon in the office. On weekends, she volunteered at the hospital where her father had spent his final days. Walking those same corridors now felt different. She was no longer a spectator, but a participant, offering comfort to those who sat where she once sat a day. She started writing letters to her father, keeping him updated on her life, sharing thoughts and questions she wished she could ask him. The letters remained unsent, tucked in a box under her bed, but writing them brought comfort. Gradually, she noticed that her dreams of him shifted. Instead of the frail man in the hospital bed, he appeared as he had been in her childhood, strong, laughing, full of life. These dreams felt like visits, like his way of telling her he was okay. The night sky became her cathedral. Each evening's walk home transformed into a sacred ritual where she would look up, find the brightest star, and share her day with him. Sometimes she cried, sometimes she laughed, but she always felt heard. Under the starlit sky, Maria smiled with genuine peace. She had walked through the valley of grief and emerged not broken, but transformed. The light her father always saw in her now burned brighter than ever, fueled by love, memory, and the hard-won wisdom that comes from loss. Against life's chaos, she truly was shining.